Okay, now we're going to do special purposes cash funds. Specifically for this video, we're going to focus on petty cash. So petty cash is the best kind of example, or best way to think about petty cash is usually a relatively small amount of money that is kept usually on hand for small expenses, so that you don't have to write a check for every little thing. So say you want to buy donuts for the office, or say you want to you have reams and reams of paper on order, but you really need a certain kind of paper right now, and you run to the office supply store and buy one ream of that paper just because you need it immediately and don't want to wait until the next set's coming in, or you need to mail something and you need to go buy postage, or any other types of small, mostly miscellaneous type expenses or office supply expenses. And so what we do is we establish a petty cash fund, and we actually take cash. And a lot of times we have someone that's responsible for this, and they have a cash drawer somewhere. It's usually locked up in some way. And we take cash out of the bank and we give them that cash. Well, just because it's a small amount doesn't mean we're not going to reconcile that amount. However, we usually aren't reconciling it, daily or every time somebody uses it. Instead, we usually do it at the end of the month or end of a time frame. So first things first, we have to establish the petty cash fund in the first place. So to establish petty cash fund, meaning I need to actually go take cash out of the bank to give to the individual that is responsible for having a petty cash drawer. So establishing the petty cash fund, I'm going to increase petty cash, which is an asset account. In this case, they put $500 in the petty cash fund. I'm on page 355, $500, and they went to the bank and took out from a cash fund $500. So now I've got a drawer that has $500 in cash in it. And throughout the month, people have been coming to me, and I've probably made errands myself, or some other people have, where I say, hey, I really need to go buy this stapler, or I need to go buy staples, or I need to buy pencils, or I need to buy paper, or I need to buy postage, or I need to buy any of these things. And every time that happens, assuming it's something that's petty cash is allowed to be used for, I would give them some cash, and they would go buy whatever that item is, and they would bring back, the records would be, they bring back a receipt, and they bring back any change that they had. So in a perfect world, everything would balance, and hopefully that sometimes it does. But there's also plenty of times where they don't give me the exact change back, or they didn't get the exact change back correctly from the store they went to, or the receipts don't match up, and there's a minimal difference. We'll talk about how we handle that. So the month goes by, and I go look at it's the end of August now, and I go look at my petty cash receipts. And so I'll just put these out here. My petty cash receipts, meaning the receipts I have in the drawer to record for. I have $380. That was for office supplies. It could be a whole bunch of different receipts that total up $380. I have postage, totals up $22. Store supplies, totals up $35. And the miscellaneous admin expenses for $30. So the total of my receipts is $467 worth of total receipts. Okay, now I need to count the cash in my drawer, total cash remaining in the petty cash drawer, because there's a good chance it's not going to match up. So if it does match up, so let's say that I have, and by matching up I mean I go and count and I have exactly, should be the 500 minus 467, I have exactly $33 left in my petty cash drawer. What I do is I simply go take out the $467 from the bank and replenish my cash drawer. And the journal entry for that is, this is establishing my petty cash fund. Now I'm going to journalize. So this is me establishing my petty cash fund. And now I'm going to journalize replenishing my my petty cash fund. So now I want to replenish petty cash fund. And so I need to use all the expenses, or sometimes assets like office supplies and store supplies that I spent money on, and record them according to how much I spent. Now, they in this specifically say office and postage are the same thing in this case, so they add those two together, which is fine. They'll have to tell you how to do that on no problem, because you wouldn't know to do that otherwise. They have it labeled here. Store supplies, they've got for $35. And miscellaneous administrative expense was $30. And so I can go take exactly $467 out of the bank and replenish the funds, but I notice I don't touch petty cash. Petty cash stays there at $500. The other thing that is interesting about this is that that petty cash stays there as it is unless I change it. Unless I go up or down with it, it stays there. I just replenish it whenever I need to, okay, and that's how it's supposed to work. Now, the only reason this one works so easily is because of the fact that I had exactly the right amount of cash remaining in the drawer, and so because I subtracted those two numbers. But what would happen if, so I've got the same receipts here, so I'm kind of starting over a little bit here. I got the same receipts, but I go and count how much money's in my drawer, and I only have $28 in my cash drawer rather than the $33 that I'm supposed to have. Well, I am going to want to replenish the petty cash fund so that it's up to $500 like it should be, which means my credit to cash needs to be 500 minus 28. The problem is I don't balance, which I always have to balance, because 472 is not equal to 467, which is what the three of these total up. In that case, I would use an account called cash over short. This is the same account, and it really just means cash over or short. I would put overages or shortages in here. And this is the account that we use for if our drawers are off, if we get back incorrect change to people, and those types of things. And it should go plus and minus. It should stay relatively small. It's also an account that helps us keep track of. If it's not relatively small, then we could start have to investigate potential fraud or other areas that might be happening if it always seems to be coming up short all the time. So I simply would take these numbers minus the 472 to figure out what might be a negative number, sorry. So it needs to be $5. Reason for that is I need this total to be 472, and now it is, to balance out my credit to cash, because this credit to cash is solid. My credit to cash is always the amount required to replenish funds back to original value. So even if I don't have enough cash in my drawer, I'm always going to replenish the funds back up to this $500 value, because I don't touch petty cash, the actual account, unless I adjust how much I want in petty cash, so that I know that that's the amount that I need to, because that's the amount that's in the balance, and that's the amount that I need to pull out, so that I rebalance my books and my petty cash fund. And that's all I have for Chapter 7.